we absolutely cooked on Abstract. And I still think that Abstract will continue to cook. The Thesis has always been a long-term one. However, there is a new chain that I am looking to play for a short-term Thesis, okay? This chain has not launched yet, but I think it will launch sometime in October. This chain is, as you can see on the screen, Monad, okay? Now, I think it will launch in October. There's a 57% chance on Polymarket, but as you can see here, they've said airdrop claim loading 80%. They would only have an airdrop if they launch mainnet and then have their native token. So I think it's very likely that Monad launches either in October or November. So keep in mind that we got to be ready for whenever it launches, okay? But I will be going over why I think this ecosystem will cook, why it could have its own season, and how I think you guys can make money from this, okay? So the first thing to go over is that this will be a very high valuation chain. As you can see, they have raised $225 million. This was just one of the rounds. They've raised more than this. I think it was total $250 million that they've raised. But either way, they have a lot of funding. This gives them, as a chain, a lot of leverage to absolutely cook. The next thing they have to understand is if they raised $225 million at a $1 billion FTV, then that means that they gave away 22% of their supply. Now, I think that's very, very unlikely. So what I think instead is they probably raised this amount at like a $2 billion or even a $4 billion FTV, which if they did and they want to launch their Monad token at a higher valuation than what they raised at so that the VCs can be in a profit, then they're going to have to launch at like a 4 billion, 5 billion, maybe even 10 billion FDV to make the VCs who have invested in Monad, make them be in a profit right away. So you could check here on Polymarket, they actually have a market for this. Monad market cap FDV 1 day after launch, okay? So the odds are very likely, basically 100%, that it launches above 2 billion FDV. Cool. There's more than a 50% chance that it launches above 6 billion FDV, and there's a 30% chance it launches above 8 billion FDV. Now keep in mind that this is a pretty illiquid market, so it's actually quite likely that these are not 100% accurate numbers, but you could assume that they're relatively accurate. And I personally believe that Monad will launch above 2 billion. I think it's very likely it launches above 4 billion. And as you can see here, pretty likely it launches above 6 billion. So why does this matter? Because high valuation chains means that there's a lot of liquidity, a lot of money to go around. On top of that, high valuation chains typically have massive airdrops, okay? So as you can see, they have their airdrop loading. They are going to do an airdrop. And when they do this airdrop, it's probably going to make a lot of people a lot of money. And when a lot of people make a lot of money on an ecosystem, they are probably going to sell the token. So that's one thing that we'll get into. But another thing that a lot of people will do is they will use those funds to ape ecosystem plays, okay? So this is called the house money effect. When you make free money, a lot of people reinvest that free money to try and make more money. It's a pretty obvious example and a pretty simple idea to understand. But the question is, who will be getting this airdrop? And this is when knowledge of Monad's ecosystem is very useful. So I've been in Monad for like 2 years now. I've been in their Discord for that amount of time. And I am very, very confident that they will airdrop to members of their Discord who have specific roles in their Discord. So the roles in their Discord basically give you status. I don't want to get into all the details, but all you have to know is that a lot of people are inexperienced traders and will very likely get a massive airdrop. When I say massive, it could be over $10,000 per person if you have the specific role. And the reason why it would be that much is because it's a very high valuation coin, okay? So if everyone that is not a good trader gets a bunch of free money, yes, a lot of them will sell, especially the experienced traders who understand how these tokens usually react once they're launched. But there will be quite a few people that will use those funds to then ape back into the ecosystem, therefore giving you the house money effect and a lot of liquidity to go around. In other words, these are all people that you could essentially take money from. So if you're early enough, if you out trade them, then you'll make more money, okay? Next thing that I wanted to get into is Luke Belmar talking about Monad.
So a couple of the future trends are the enhancement of the Ethereum virtual machine. So you have like Monad and different projects that are in that ecosystem. They're absolutely going to skyrocket. I see Monad going to like $30 to $50 billion valuation.
Okay, so the main point that I want to get over to you guys through this video isn't even that it's going to a 50 to 100 billion FDV, whatever Luke Belmar said. The thing that I want to get across is that there are lots of big people that are aware of Monad and that will share the thesis for Monad and be bullish on it as soon as it launches. So someone like Luke Belmar, he's got a lot of influence. There are going to be so many more people as well that whether they're paid KOLs or they're just KOLs that like Monad, a lot of people are going to be talking about it. So I think that once Monad launches, and then there's this massive house money effect with very high valuations, with a bunch of KOLs talking about it, it's a prime situation for the chain to at least have its own season for maybe a week, maybe a month. I don't know how long, but we'll have to see as we get closer to the launch and see how the launch goes. But typically speaking, you could expect there to be a season for Monad because of high valuations and because of a lot of KOLs talking about it. The next thing, as I already mentioned, a lot of people will get a big airdrop in the Monad community who have these roles in the Discord. A lot of these guys are very, very cult-like. It's a cult-like community. A lot of these guys are diehard community members. And because they're diehard community members, they are more likely to ape into ecosystem projects, hold the airdrop, and it should cook for that reason as well. Okay, now let's look at a good example of new chains launching. One of the best examples or comparisons to Monad, I think, is Berachain. Berachain is, in my opinion, similar to Monad in terms of its community, and I think the launch will be comparable to Monad, but I think Berachain is like 10x smaller with 10x less community, 10x less cult-like community, etc. As you can see though, Berachain's token absolutely died upon launch. Of course, it side traded a bit and then it died. So I'm telling you guys like, oh, Monad's gonna cook day one or week one. But does that mean its main token is gonna cook? Maybe not. Monad's token could go straight down on day one. Your goal is not necessarily to buy Monad's token as soon as it launches, okay? This is another good example. Because Berachain, yeah, you could have made a couple good trades here. You could have bought the bottom, sold the top, and eventually it went down a lot, but yeah, you know, some people might say, oh, I can make a trade on Monad token, that's how I'm going to take advantage. But that's not really the best way to take advantage. So look at Wormhole. What if this happens to Monad's chart? It launches at such a high valuation and it's just only down. Only down. Of course, it side trades a bit in this area, but obviously if you bought upon launch or even a couple days after launch, you were buying at $1 and it hasn't revisited $1 since. So you would get absolutely cooked. The point is, there are other ways to make a lot of money on a new chain, especially if everyone sells the airdrop. Because a lot of people will sell a big airdrop that they receive, and quite a few people will use the airdrop to ape ecosystem plays. And this is where we get to the main meme coin on Berachain that ran to 40 million on day one. This meme coin, Henlo, was the number one meme coin on Berachain, and it absolutely cooked. Now, it's important to understand that it has died since, so Monad can do the same. Even if these meme coins run hard on day one, it's possible that they die afterwards. But as I mentioned, I think the high valuations, I think the house money effect where people with an airdrop are going to ape back into the ecosystem, and I think the KOLs talking about it could make the season a bit longer than one single day. I think the main meme coin on Monad will not top day one, but will top in week one. Okay, so that's important to understand. Next thing, which meme coins can we expect to be created? Well, Monad has three main characters and one other character that I'm very much looking to find a meme coin on and buy. Just like on Abstract, the mascot thesis was crazy. I think Monad is going to be something similar. Chog is, I wouldn't say he's the mascot. He's one of the characters. He's not the official mascot, but he's one of the characters that has a lot of mindshare, and I believe he's the character with the most mindshare in the Monad ecosystem. The only problem is that this coin is already anticipated. As you can see, This Chog X page already has 70,000 followers, 76,000 followers, NFTs, and dot dot dot. Very likely they will launch a token. I don't see why they wouldn't launch a token. Very likely they will. And when they launch, which is probably day one, since it's an anticipated launch, there will be snipers. And because there will be snipers, it could cook the chart. Do I think this coin still cooks? Yes. As I mentioned, I think Monad has 10x stronger community, 10x higher valuations than Barachain. So considering Barachain's, I guess it's not a mascot, but main meme coin ran to 40 mil, I think Chog can run to like 400 mil, and that it could run even higher than that, okay? However, as I mentioned, this is going to get sniped a lot. They might have a pre-sale to prevent snipers, but when was the last time you saw a pre-sale coin do well? Check AVAX if you want to check pre-sale meta. Majority of the coins on AVAX that were pre-sales, they just die upon launch because everyone's in a profit. It doesn't really make sense for pre-sale coins to do well. So if Chog does a pre-sale, if you're in that pre-sale, amazing. But if you're not, then it might be iffy to buy it. So you got to be careful. Chog can cook. I think Chog does peak at hundreds of millions, but it might be hard to get an entry. If you can get early, go right ahead. Next main character, Molendak, okay? Molendak is another main character. At one point, this character had the most mindshare in the Monad ecosystem for sure. However, this coin as well has another X page and I think it's going to be very anticipated. So the fact that a coin is anticipated means that there will be a lot of snipers and a lot of competition. So number one, you're going to have to, for this coin specifically, you're going to have to worry about buying the right coin because there are probably going to be several Molendak coins created. And the next problem is that there are going to be snipers that are anticipating the launches. So it's going to be very competitive, and this is a potential issue I foresee. One thing that you could do instead is buy a character that's a bit less popular. So this is one like Salmonad. I think Salmonad is less anticipated as a meme coin. However, Salmonad is also one of the more memeable characters. So Molendak is a character with a bunch of mindshare, and so is Chog. But Salmonad was actually created as a meme itself. So like a lot of people would reply in someone's comment section on X with just the Salmonad picture, and then everyone would do a chain of Salmonad pictures, and it was just a thing. It was a meme, right? But Molendak is not the same for that, and Chog isn't either. That doesn't mean they won't cook, because a meme being funny doesn't necessarily mean it's going to cook. But just keep in mind that this, in my opinion, is probably the best sleeper play that you can expect as a meme coin. I think someone creates a Salmonad meme coin. I think someone creates a Moyaki meme coin, which we're going to go over as well. Molendak and Chog. I think all of these will be created. There are benefits to trying to catch each. And I think Salmonad will be the best sleeper play. Chog will be the best play, guaranteed. Molendak will be an okay sleeper play. Salmonad will be the best sleeper play. Moyaki is the next character. Moyaki has a good amount of mindshare, but I think Moyaki is probably the worst out of all of these. So I personally won't even try to catch Moyaki, but unless I get very, very early. But yeah, focusing mainly on trying to catch Salmonad early, because I think Molendak is going to be tough to catch. I'll try as well, though. And I think Chog is going to be tough to catch as well. But of course, I'm going to try. But Salmonad is one that I am very much looking forward to, okay? Now, do I think Salmonad is going to be the number one like ABSTER? No, I think Chog is going to be the number one. But that doesn't mean that you can't make a profit on Salmonad. If you get in early enough, it should be a very good play. The next thing is that if there's a meme coin season, there are going to be some coins that are not anticipated. Like there's going to be some brand new IPs that are created, some funny memes that are created, some funny meme coins that are created. And you could, if you catch those early, then you could profit as well. So be on the lookout for those brand new IPs that you cannot predict before launch, okay? So very important to understand that. But if you're on the Monad ecosystem since day one, then you could definitely have an edge over a lot of other people. If you are waiting for some meme coins, you're watching, scanning the charts, scanning the trenches, I think you have a very good shot at making a lot of money, okay? Now, once again, when will Monad launch? It's tough to tell exactly, but it's very likely that it launches before November. And I would also say it's pretty likely it launches in October or by October 31st. So if it launches by October 31st, that means we have like 24 days left before it launches. So you want to be as locked in as possible, and you want to be ready for whenever it launches. Because as soon as it launches, you already know something like Chog, they're going to be ready to create their meme coin right away. Okay? Molendak as well, there's probably going to be a meme coin that is created pretty soon after launch. Salmonad, same thing. I bet all of these are created on day one and have a good runner on day one. And it's going to be interesting to see if there is follow through. Once again, if the Monad ecosystem just dies upon launch, then there's a half decent chance that the meme coins peak in day one. I still think the KOLs are going to push it, and so Monad token probably won't peak day one. I think Monad token will peak like week one, and therefore the meme coins will also peak week one. But yeah, I guess that's the thesis. Basically, TLDR, a bunch of people are going to get a lot of money. There's going to be so much liquidity on the chain. There are going to be high valuations. There's going to be a house money effect that if you buy these meme coins early, you should be able to make a very large profit. Now, some of these meme coins will be highly anticipated and sniped, so it's going to be tough to catch them. But there will be some sleeper plays, and if you are locked in, you can make a lot of money. So that's the thesis. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys learned something. Stay updated in my Telegram. I will be sharing a lot more information, especially more real-time information. So when I'm trenching, I'll be like, oh, I'm in this coin. I'm not in this coin. I think it could run higher. I think it can't. Whatever. I'm selling here. So join my Telegram. Its link will be in my X description, I believe. So yeah, if you guys join that, you'll get some more real-time information. Other than that, hope you guys are able to cook on Monad. It's going to be tough, but we're going to try our best, and it's going to be competitive, but there's also a lot of money to go around. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video.